In Demo 5, the last demo for this week, we're going to look at working just on the worksheets, how to format worksheets, as well as looking at some print and page options. The sheets have names that are defaulted to Sheet 1, Sheet 2, Sheet 3, and so on. Well, I can change those names, I can change the colors, even the positions by right-clicking on the sheet name, that's tab down here. I can change its color. Again, the palette of colors shows up, so I'll change that to a blue, and then I'll rename it. Now that is a light blue behind that. Sheet number 2, remember, is our attendance, so I'm going to rename that. And give it a color as well. Now I do attendance before I put in grades. Attendance is an everyday activity, so I want this attendance sheet to be first, so when it pops up. So all I have to do is click on the tab and notice a little page shows up, and I can move that sheet wherever I want to. Move it wherever I want to. So I'm going to put it in the first position. So notice those two sheets have changed position. Now sheet 3 isn't going to be useful for me, so I'm going to delete it. Again, right click, delete. Now if I happen to later on need a sheet, all I have to do is click on the insert sheet icon down here at the bottom, the last tab, and that'll automatically give me another sheet. Now when you go to print, it's always good to do a print preview. Well, it automatically happens in 2010 that when you go to File, Print, you get a preview of what your page is going to look like over on the right hand side. And so this is just one page. Notice it's only printing the active sheet with the sheet that I was on, which in this case is sheet 2 now. If I wanted it to print the entire workbook, then I could go through and look at the different sheets. So notice the problem here in sheet 1. It's wider in information than the sheet is. So page 1 and 2 actually are my attendance, and page 3 then is my gradebook. So I need to go to page setup, and let's go to page setup. And in page setup I can set it to landscape. Now you may be familiar with this page setup if you've looked at Excel in the past. And so I'm going to put it in landscape mode. Let's just see how that helps. So if I go back, notice it only put the sheet I was in into landscape mode. I want to put them all into landscape mode. So I would go up here and say landscape. Still a little bit hanging over. So what can we do about that? Is there anything we can do about that? Well, we can scale. Notice what it says. Fit sheet to one page. It's going to shrink everything up, but it will show up on one page as it does here. You can do the same thing over in the page layout. Landscape, fit to one page. Wide, one page. Tall, that happens to be 81%. My margins. I can change my margins at will right here. Left, right, top, bottom, footer. I can also put the information on the center of the page, horizontally and vertically center on the page. Let's see what that looks like. Puts it right in the middle of the page. Go back to page setup. Headers and footers. I can create a header and a footer. Let's do that right now. Custom footer. Notice you've got 3 sections. This is way different than Word. You just have 3 sections to put information. Each one of these icons is a different piece of information that you can click on. So in the left section, I'm just going to put my name. To move to another section, I just hit the Tab key. Let's say in the right section, and since this is the footer, I want to put the page number. So let's find page number in the icons right here. Insert page number. Notice this ampersand page. That will change. If I were to move the sheets around, then page 1 becomes 2. It'll automatically change for me. So I hit OK. Now let's customize the header. In this case, in the top left-hand side, I want to put the file name. That's the file path where it's saved. This is the file name, the individual file name right there. Again, the ampersand, because if the file name changes, it'll change every time I print. Go back over here to the right section, and I want to put in the date. So I'll insert the date and hit OK. So now I have my header and my footer. I hit OK, and notice they appear on my page. The last thing is the sheet. If I wanted to, I could add grid lines and row and column headings to this. If somebody wanted to know exactly what rows I was using, what columns, and someone could then say, oh, you made a mistake in E5. Elmer was here, so I need to click on that. So when you go to print, you automatically get a preview. In the print, you have the options of how much do you want to print, a selected sheet or all of the sheets. What kind of orientation do you want? Do you need to scale this so that it fits on one page only? Then you can go to page setup and do some very specific sorts of things under margins, horizontal, vertical positioning, headers and footers, creating the custom header and footer. And then the sheet, do I want to add grid lines, rows and column headings? Those are the more common ones, particularly for this course.